beginning in 1967, I came back from Vietnam, and my dream would have been to work for NASA. I had no idea that I would get a chance to do that, but that was a time that NASA was trying to get the Apollo program going. It was on a fast track. They needed a lot of people. I sent in resumes, had interviews for a position at Kennedy, and ultimately was accepted there and went to work in 1967. That's 19, not 18, okay? So for all of the Apollo missions after the Apollo fire, I was on the launch team for all of the missions there. I primarily had responsibility as an electrical systems engineer for writing the procedures to check out and launch the first stage and the ground support equipment that goes along with that. Now, in those days when we first started, we didn't have computers running everything. Everything was manual. You throw a switch, picks up a relay sends voltage out to the AGCS. AGCS hits another relay and sends voltage up into the spacecraft and opens the vent valve or whatever we're doing. So we had to check all that out, test and launch. In addition, and this is probably of interest to you, is the first stage also had responsibility for all the interlocks for launch. Interlocks are those things that go or no go. So we had all the fault systems in our ground system. Finally, most of that was, like I said, manual, except for the last 3 minutes and 10 seconds of launch. And the last 3 minutes and 10 seconds was done with a terminal countdown sequencer. And the reason for that is that most of the things didn't require any great precision. But when you get down to lighting huge engines, those things have to be timed to the milliseconds. If you fire one engine before the second engine, you could bend the launch vehicle. So you asked me what time it was, and I told you how we built the clock. A lot of really good memories, but the biggest one for me, the two biggest ones. The first one was the first launch, and being in the cement blockhouse with Werner von Braun, who's in the middle of the blockhouse looking through a periscope declaring liftoff of my stage. We did it. So that's number one. Launching that vehicle, knowing the men were on there, and knowing that no man had ever left Earth orbit. They were going where nobody had ever been. I still think Apollo could not have happened without the Russians putting the press on, and the president and Congress and the American people being behind it 100%. It couldn't have happened. And that's the end of that story.